A year later, it was the Rams of Rhode Island out of the Atlantic 10. 28 victories, an all-time high. Tournament wins over Missouri and Syracuse, a spot in the Sweet 16. But both of those coaches are gone, and those NCAA tournaments are just fond memories as these two teams meet here tonight.
The following is a presentation of the Big East Conference, celebrating 10 years of athletic and academic excellence.
Now Jackson. Rowan will take it. With 8 seconds to go. Oh, Syracuse, no timeout. Washington, blocked by Walter Berry. St. John's wins.
Donovan with the ball with 6, with 5. Right side, Huck Lewis. 1 second remaining. Huck Lewis hits the field goal.
Wright could not hang on. Miller with a 3-on-2. Lane. Tonight's game features the Rams from the University of Rhode Island against the Friars of Providence College. Big East basketball brought to you by US Air and Piedmont. By your local Chrysler, Plymouth, and Dodge dealers. And by the owners of Days Inn Hotels and Suites in the Big East Conference.
Providence College basketball is brought to you by your local Dunkin' Donuts. The Blue Cross and Blue Shield family of health plans. No one protects you better. And by Narragansett Electric. Caring about energy, caring about you.
We are live at the Civic Center in Providence, Rhode Island. A capacity crowd of over 13,000 is here for the Friars and the Rams as they meet for the 101st time. Our Avis scouting report is coming up right after a word from your local stations. We'll be back. Play of their guards, and that's probably going to be the case again tonight. Let's talk about Providence first of all.
Well, that's right. A very strong tandem in the backcourt for Rick Barnes this year. Screen and Murdoch combine to force the opposition into 8 steals a game. They're out there with their hands very quick. They put a lot of pressure on their opponent, and I look for Providence to really extend the pressure and put a lot of pressure and make it difficult for Rhode Island bringing the ball up court.
Carlton, Slick Owens and Tom Garrick are gone. That means Herb Dixon and Steve Lane are going to have to pick it up.
That's right. Really kind of an inexperienced backcourt for Al Skinner. Dixon was actually a center on his high school team at BC High, the transfer from Cleveland State. Lane is a good outside shooter. Critical in this ball game that they handle the pressure and try to get it up court, limiting turnovers.
That is the story outside. There's also a story for these two teams inside. We'll be back with that as our Avis scouting report continues from Providence. We are back once again at the Civic Center in Providence. We talked about the key matchups outside in this game. Let's talk about inside. And inside, you have Marty Conlon and Cal Foster for Providence. Neither of those two guys was with the team last year.
Well, that's a big plus that they are with the team for Rick Barnes this year. Marty Conlon had 16 boards, and Cal Foster had 20 points in a recent Big East win against Boston College. And they have combined with other front court members to out-rebound opponents by 6 rebounds a game. A much different story than Rhode Island's done inside.
The Rams, of course, do have more experience inside than outside. Kenny Green and John Evans. Kenny Green is not a starter, but he plays a lot and plays well.
One of the best 6th men in the country. He could start for a lot of teams, that's for sure. He's got the arthritic knees. He's an outstanding rebounder, and he can put points up in a hurry, and they will need a big effort from him. Rhode Island has to do a job on the boards. They've been out-rebounded by 6 rebounds a game this year.
We are just about set for basketball. We'll be back to meet the starters for Rhode Island, also the starters for Providence, and we'll have the opening tip coming up from the Civic Center after this word from your local station.
Just give me
basketball game. The Friars are 6-0, and they will start with Murdoch and Screen in the backcourt. Conlon in the middle. Foster and Palazzi are the other forwards. Palazzi, of course, a small forward.
That's right. He's the one player we didn't talk about in the open, and he's been shooting the ball extremely well, particularly from three-point territory, and that's an advantage that Providence has in this game. They're outside shooting.
One point, though, about Cal Foster. He did score the 20 points, but I don't think that Rick Barnes really wants or expects him to score 20 points a game.
No, he's a role player inside. He's got the good leaping ability. He's a strong weak side rebounder. He was in the right place at the right time in that BC game, and I don't think Rick Barnes wants to have him looking for a lot of shots unless they're there.
It was a big win, 73-52 over Boston College. And last year in this building, Rhode Island rode a victory over Providence. And they will go with Dixon and Lane as their guards, Colson in the middle, Cena and Evans the other forwards. Cena the transfer from Seton Hall.
He was a backcourt player for P.J. Carlissimo, playing more down low in the forward spot. And he is a very heady player on the floor and rounds out the starting five very well for the Rams.
You wonder a little bit about the health of this team, though. We talked about the problems that Kenny Green has had continuing with his knee. Morgan Cena suffering from the flu. Bonzie Colson about with food poisoning. Herb Dixon has a problem with a toe. So they are banged up just a bit. They are 1-2. Disappointing, I think, that they have not been able to handle the pressure in their last couple of games. They lost to Arizona State, and they lost to a surprisingly strong Northeastern team.
Well, I was at that Northeastern game. I worked it, John, and they did not handle it well, and they didn't rebound particularly well.
Here are some stats that we will keep track of during the course of the game, and three-point plays will be very important. Rebounding, turnovers, and getting turnovers from the opposition. The opening tap is controlled by Rhode Island, and the Rams in their blue traveling uniforms. They are the visiting for this game tonight. They go outside first of all to Lane. Lane being pressured by Murdoch, an outstanding defensive player, works his way to the baseline. His jumper too hard, and the rebound controlled by Rhode Island. Along the baseline, it's loose, and the traveling violation will give the ball to Providence. Our officials for the game tonight: Gene Monge, Jack Hannon, and Peter Pavia are the officials for this contest.
Rhode Island's coming out in a 2-2-1 three-quarter court press, and it's designed to slow Providence down more than anything.
Palazzi for three, short. Back come the Rams. A spinning move along the baseline. Double and a triple team. The ball picked up by the Friars. Here comes screen. Conlon is outside. They swing it to Murdoch. A great game for him against Boston College. In the lane, it's good. So Murdoch, coming off a 26-point effort, gets the first two of this game.
He's been playing extremely well. He does a little bit of everything out there. He can penetrate and score. He can shoot from three-point land, and he plays outstanding defense. This is a very important matchup. Carlton screen against Herb Dixon. Providence puts great pressure on the guards, and that's why they've had such great success boxing out inside.
From the corner, Lane's shot is good. It's a two-pointer, and the game is tied at 2.
Steve Lane, excellent shooter for the Rams, probably the best from the outside.
Conlon bending off. The rebound is ripped down by John Evans. Screen pressuring Dixon. 11 against 11, and it's batted away by Carlton Screen.
When you put great pressure on the ball defensively, the person with the ball, the point guard, in this case Herb Dixon for Al Skinner's club, is more concerned with not losing the ball versus setting up, penetrating, and getting it to people. Oh, that was a good penetration.
And Colson misses the shot, gets his own rebound, up again, bending off. Conlon with a rebound.
Nice job of clearing out by Conlon after he got a hold of it.
Murdoch for three. Colson with a rebound.
I think this tempo favors the Friars in the early going. It's up and down.
And the blocking foul is called underneath on Matt Palazzi. Palazzi, an interesting story, has played, count them, for 4 different head coaches at Providence.
Oh, Matt Palazzi clearly steps underneath Cena that time after Cena had left his feet for the goal. And that's a blocking foul. You have to plant the pivot feet before the offensive player leaves going to the basket.
So Cena, 65% foul shooter. Started at Seton Hall, misses the first.
He has grown since his freshman year at Seton Hall. He's now listed in the program, John, at 6'8". I think he was a 6'6" freshman for P.J. Carlissimo, and he's much more of a forward type player now.
He makes 1 out of 2. And it's a 3-2 lead for the Rams of Rhode Island. Murdoch with some penetration. Lane jumper good. Eric Murdoch has 4.
The thing that allows is Providence to get into their full court pressure when they can hit the outside jump shot, and that is Providence's game. Defensive pressure, their opponent shooting just 38% coming into this game.
Both teams averaging over 85 points a game. Down low, it rolls along the baseline and out of bounds, belongs to Providence. The key difference, though, the Friars are giving up only 62 points a game defensively, and the Rams are allowing 89. They break it quickly down, and a foul called on Bonzi Colson.
Providence also has a deeper bench in this game, so if they can get Colson into foul trouble inside, they will look to do that. This time Providence just pushes it so quickly. And Eric Murdoch, the sign of a good player is you hear his name a lot as you see Colson with that first foul. And it always seems that Murdoch is around the ball.
And he's such a tremendous player defensively, and if he can continue the kind of offense that he showed against Boston College and that he's showing tonight, what a plus he's going to be for the Friars.
Well, I think he's taking more offense onto his shoulders because Carlton Screen is really the floor general for this Friar club, and he's doing a very good job of distributing the ball.
And as you can see statistically, Murdoch does a great job at the line. He hits both of those. He has all 6 Providence points, and it's a 6-3 Friar lead as the Rams, in the person of Evans, bring it up.
I don't suspect we'll get too far into this game before we see Kenny Green come in for Rhode Island. Very tough inside, and he can score.
From the side, the shot is too long by Lane, tipped up, then finally grabbed by Murdoch. They break it out with a 3-on-1. Murdoch traveled with the ball, could not quite decide what to do with it.
That was a pretty good job defensively by Rhode Island. Herb Dixon was back there. Rick Barnes wants to see his team convert. They're off to such a good start this year. 6 up and none down. Nice steal.
Murdoch with the steal. Foster draws the foul. It'll be the first of the game on Lane. And already we talked about turnovers. Rhode Island's turned it over 3 times, Providence once. That's going to be critical. The Rams can't do that and win the basketball game.
That's right. Providence has been very good in the early going in this season, converting. I think the other thing that the full court pressure does for Providence, it really gets these players into high gear early in the game, and that's so important for them.
Foster misses the first of his 2, averaging only about 6 points a game, but as we mentioned, against Boston College the other night, he had a total of 20, a career high for him.
He went into that game shooting just 36% from the foul line. After the game, he was shooting 64%, but he didn't help his percentage right there.
Evans gets the rebound to Dixon. Screen quickly out to pressure him, and they're pressuring from the half-court line in. It's knocked away, and the Rams will keep it. So Rhode Island has the basketball. 6-3, Providence leads with 16:36 to play. We're in the first half here at the Civic Center.
Providence playing a very tight man-to-man defense. When they're not in the man-to-man, they've been pressuring full court all over the ball.
Here's Lane from outside for 3, and it's the first of the night. So Lane hits the 3-pointer. He's 6 of 16, and he has all 5, or he has 5 of the 6 points for Rhode Island. Conlon from outside, his first basket. Marty averaging 14 points a game, gets 2, and it's 8-6 Providence. Knocked away, and there you see the pressure that Murdoch can apply.
I think that ball is going to come back Rhode Island way. Pete Pavia right away correcting himself. Good job by Pavia. Al Skinner right on the play.
Al Skinner, great player at UMass.
Oh, he was.
Also played professionally in his first year after being an assistant for 4 years, replacing Tom Penders, and moved on to Texas. Evans gets it across.
Both coaches have paid their dues in the assistant ranks.
Rick Barnes coming off one very successful year at George Mason. Foul called down inside.
20 wins there last year for Rick Barnes. Rhode Island with just 9 made 3-point field goals coming into this game, and that was their 10th.
We have a timeout with 15:51 to play in the first half and a 2-point lead for the Friars of Providence. This copyrighted telecast produced by authority of the Big East Conference and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Big East Conference is prohibited. At this point, URI out rebounding Providence College 6-2. And Providence College 3 of 6 shooting, and the basket goes by Dixon. And that means that URI is now 3 of 7 from the field.
That was an interesting adjustment by Al Skinner. He had Herb Dixon with excellent leaping ability, posting up against Carlton's screen, and Mergen Cena handling the ball. That was a nice move.
And Murdoch outside along with screen. We have Abdul Shamsuddin drawing a foul inside. Mergen Cena picks that foul up. Shamsuddin has come into the lineup.
Well, this is a mismatch if Shamsuddin can post up against Cena in low. Shamsuddin has about 3 inches. That was a little bit of a push-off by Shamsuddin, but what the call was that Cena had bodied up before that.
Conlon gets low and gets it in. 4 points for Conlon. He and Murdoch have all 10 of the points so far, and the lead is 10-8.
Conlon very effective when he doesn't put it to the floor. He went right at it that time. Lazy pass.
Murdoch going for the steal, but it's controlled by Herb Dixon.
Can't relax against his Friar team at all. It's full court pressure, 94 feet.
Dixon works the baseline. The shot is blocked, and the foul is called underneath on Matt Palazzi. Got him with the body. Shamsuddin went up to get the ball, but Palazzi picks up his 2nd personal foul.
Surprised early that Dixon is getting the kind of penetration that he is getting. And Kenny Green, this is instant spark whenever he comes into the game for the Rams, rebounding, shooting the basketball, and he's an excellent leaper and shot blocker inside.
And Darryl Wright, who's had some great games against Rhode Island, has not been much of a factor so far for Providence College this year, is also in the lineup. So Dixon goes to the line. He'll shoot 2 and hits the first. A 78% foul shooter. 3 points for the senior from Boston, a transfer from Cleveland State. Kind of bounced around a bit, but has settled in at Rhode Island. Made them both.
I tell you, he's very talented, and you can tell as in his younger days that he did play some ball inside under the basket because he's an excellent leaper, not afraid to take it to the goal.
Each team with 10 points. We played just over 5 minutes of the first half. Shamsuddin outside. They swing it to Wright. Wright looks to Conlon. He's got it. Turnaround jumper. No good. Marty gets it back. Goes low to Wright. Along the baseline, lays it in.
Now, that was a good look and follow-up by Marty Conlon, and Darryl Wright did a great job just catching that ball.
Evans takes the pass from Green. Works it up as they set up their half-court offense. Outside is Steve Lane. He has the game's only 3-pointer. Trying to work a move on Murdoch. That's not easy. Cena gets it low. Green's turnaround baseline shot high in the air and no good. Tipped up, taken out by Screen. Carlton screen starts back for Providence. Paco has the basketball, feeds Murdoch. Down the baseline he goes, dips it, dumps it off. Shamsuddin with the left-handed shot. Partially deflected. It's Conlon, no good. And the rebound by Green. Might have been a goaltending call there.
I think he got that ball before it reached his peak. He's just an outstanding leaper, and he has long arms, and he really went and grabbed that rebound as well. He's a force inside.
Turnaround by Evans is short. Conlon right there for the easy rebound. Kicks it ahead to Screen. Screen starts a move. Gives it up to Wright. Wright's turnaround jumper, no good. Tipped up and saved by Rhode Island. Good job that time off the boards by Mergen Cena.
Providence is really looking for some quick shots. I think they need to swing it more.
The 3-pointer is short. Cena had the rebound, stripped away from him. Here comes Screen. It's a 1-on-2. Screen will take it down. Missed the shot. The follow goes to Rhode Island.
Credit Kenny Green once again.
Quickly back at the other end. They come up and under and in by John Evans.
Now Rhode Island is hanging very tough in the early going.
It's a 12-12 game, and trying to answer is Murdoch. He is fouled on the play. The second of the game on Steve Lane.
And neither of the backcourt people for the Rams can afford to get into foul trouble, because this is not a Rhode Island team that goes very deep into the bench. As a matter of fact, Al Skinner will take Lane out.
And Josh Oppenheimer will check into the lineup now. Josh has a total of 6 points on the season in the first 3 games. So Oppenheimer takes the place of Lane because Lane has picked up 2 fouls.
It's for Providence to up the pressure even more with Oppenheimer in the game.
Murdoch is 3 out of 3 at the line. 7 points for this sophomore from Bridgewater, New Jersey. Runner-up last year as the freshman of the year in the Big East Conference.
Had an outstanding freshman campaign, though.
Hits both, has 8 points in the game. 14-12. It's a 2-point lead for Providence. The biggest lead of the night has been 3 points. All the way ahead to Evans.
That's a pass that's there a lot of times against full court pressure. The cross-court pass from deep in the corner.
Oppenheimer gets it inside, then gets it back. They swing it inside once again. Quickly, they put the trap that time on Dixon.
The difference there is that Oppenheimer is not the outside threat that Lane was to take the jumper.
Oppenheimer gives it up, working his way in. Underneath is Evans. The blocking foul is called. John Evans, a senior from Cambridge, Massachusetts, got penetration, drew the foul from Shamsuddin.
John Evans played with Ramil Robinson in high school, now with the Michigan Wolverines, played for Mike Jarvis, who's the head coach at BU. That's two very close calls that Providence hasn't gotten on blocking calls. Palazzi's was a good call on the block, and Shamsuddin again moving inside, not establishing good position.
5 of the players for Rhode Island average in double figures. Evans is one of them. He has 17 points a game, and that's his first point, or excuse me, his third point tonight.
Well, the depth issue could be a factor. Rick Barnes goes a lot deeper into his bench than does Al Skinner. And with this constant pressure that's applied, Providence is susceptible to get a couple of good spurts in this game when Rhode Island gets tired.
Evans hits 2, he has 4. An example of that is the fact that only 8 players have seen playing time so far for Rhode Island this season. All 14 have played for Providence at one time or another.
And with fresh bodies continuing to go in for Providence, they could just get a run all of a sudden with that pressure and reel off some points.
And offensive foul on Conlon, trying to set up underneath. Chris Watts has checked into the lineup. He is playing outside along with Screen, Wright, Shamsuddin, and Conlon right now. Those are the 5 on the floor for the Friars. It's Oppenheimer, Dixon, Evans, Green, and Cena right now for the Rams. A 14-14 game with 12 minutes and 7 seconds to play first half.
Well, the Rams have avoided the initial surge that Providence has put on, and they've come in and hung very tough in the early going.
Oppenheimer under some strong pressure from Carlton's screen. Evans works it back outside.
Dixon's got to get the ball more, though. Right now, this offense for Rhode Island is starting out much too deep.
The jump shot is too hard, tipped up, and here comes Wright. It's a 3-on-2. Wright slows it down, hits the trailer, and down the lane goes Screen. Lost out of bounds by Shamsuddin.
Carlton Screen actually had the shot himself that time against the pressure.
11:37 to play in the first half. It's 14-14. Back with more after this word from your local stations. The Plymouth Player of the Game will be selected at the conclusion of this game and during every game, televised by the Big East Conference Television Network as part of the Chrysler Corporation's sponsorship of Big East basketball. We've got a good one so far. It's 14-14. I'm John Sanders along with Ron Perry, and the Rams get it ahead. They beat the pressure. Dixon has it outside. Tried to go inside to Evans, but Conlon was there for the steal.
That's still an effective pressure situation by Providence, even though they turned it up in their own backcourt.
Watts rattles out. Shamsuddin up with a follow, rolls in.
Well, this is an area that we thought would be a big plus for Providence, getting the rebounding advantage, and we've documented that they come in with a 5 rebound advantage over their opponents, and Rhode Island has been out-rebounded by 6 a game.
Outside it is Dixon. He has not taken many shots so far. Came in averaging about 15 a game. Good spin move in the lane, but he lost the basketball. And a traveling violation will give it right back to the Rams.
Still great pressure on the backboard. Screen and Murdoch get all over people, and this time Carlton Screen gets beat, but he does force Dixon to get out of control, and there's the walk by Shamsuddin, losing his footing.
16-14. The Friars lead the Rams. URI puts the ball in play, and they have another substitution in the ball game now. As Kent is in there, Jeff Kent.
He's a good, solid banger inside for the Rams. Doesn't make many mistakes.
Dixon got the baseline that time and drew the foul. Shamsuddin picks up his second personal.
Herb Dixon has been penetrating. He really gets up inside, and you can see from behind Shamsuddin with the hack. Herb Dixon, 6'2", he can really sky.
11, Herb Dixon on the line.
So Greg Bent now checks into the lineup, number 23. He is a transfer. He's a junior out of Detroit, Michigan, but a transfer from San Jacinto Junior College. Dixon at the line. nothing but net.
A lot of fine basketball players have come out of San Jacinto in recent years. He played with Boo Harvey and Michael Porter, who was the starting backcourt at St. John's a year ago.
They wave it off. Kent was in the lane too soon. Of course, Walter Berry, another junior college player, went on to be big time in the Big East. And a lot more teams, I think, are looking at junior colleges for players.
Well, the thing with the JUCO players, they can come in and have an immediate impact on your program. Freshmen can too, but usually there's more of an adjustment coming in as a freshman from the high school level.
Palazzi back in for Coach Rick Barnes. Darryl Wright sits down, screen goes to Collins, spins in the lane, finally gets it up, and it's stuffed by Green. The Friars will keep it, but Green, despite the problem with his knee, is very, very active inside.
Oh, that's right. He does have that well-documented arthritic problem, but Marty Conlon's putting some good moves on him. Green just doesn't go for it, and good help out by Kent as he kicks it out of bounds.
Conlon nowhere to go that time, and he throws it away. Dixon and Murdoch bump in backcourt. The ball belongs to the Rams of Rhode Island. 10 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the first half of play. A 1-point lead. 16-15 Providence.
Really a 3-guard lineup in there. Matt Palazzi, a swing player for Rick Barnes. This is one of the few times we've looked out early and seen the Rams with a height advantage inside with Kent and Kenny Green combining.
They can't get the ball to Green. Kent comes out to takes the pressure off of Oppenheimer. Dixon tapped away from him by Murdoch, whose hands are all over you when he plays defense.
Marty Conlon's really doubling up when he can with Kenny Green, but that's an advantage. Kenny Green against Greg Bent. There's the ball.
There's Green down low. Bent bends in.
They should really look for Kenny Green because that's a tough matchup for Bent. He's giving up a couple of inches.
And the lead belongs to Rhode Island. 17-16 the score. Bent comes out to take the feed. Looks low to Murdoch. Quickly up and in. Good quick move by Eric Murdoch. He has 10 points.
Neither team has shot it particularly well in this first half. Both teams shooting in the 35% range.
And of course, shooting was a big, big problem for the Friars last year. They simply could not shoot the basketball at all.
That's a good point. Now, they're a team even this year that's getting it off their defense, and Rhode Island has not been turning it over.
There's Green for the follow, and Laser won't go. Rolls out. Loose ball. Kent is up. It's partially blocked. And a foul called underneath. Green will go to the line.
Well, we just talked about Kent and Green, and that was indicative of it. The two of them just playing ping pong off the backboard that time against a smaller front line for Providence.
Marty Conlon picks up his first foul. Let's take a look at the action inside.
And Rick Barnes will make a couple of substitutions. Bent does get a hand on this, but this is like the third effort inside by both Kent and Kenny Green. And Green, as we mentioned earlier, is a real force inside.
Darryl Wright checks back in along with Cal Foster for the Friars. A 2-point lead, and now it's tied again. It's 18-18. Green has 3. Green is from Waterbury, Connecticut. And apparently that knee problem is something that is going to continue. He practices very little during the week because of it.
It's actually a rarity if he can get practice in between games. He has to rest the leg so that he's ready for game time.
A 1-point lead, 19-18, Rhode Island over Providence. Conlon lost the basketball, so he's turned it over a couple of times. Dixon comes back quickly. He'll take it all the way up and miss the shot. Had it momentarily, and it's Wright now for Providence.
Dixon did everything that time except put it in the hole. He made all the right moves. Couldn't get it to go.
8:26 to play first half. Murdoch penetration, and he's fouled on the way in. Oppenheimer picks up the foul. That'll be the first on the sophomore from Los Angeles. Al Skinner up and talking to the officiating crew. Al, in his first year, we mentioned 2 first-year coaches here. Also mentioned the fact that Palazzi has played for 4 different coaches here at Providence College. Joe Mullaney, who recruited him, Rick Pitino for 1 year, then he took a year off, part of a year, 1 game actually for Gordie Cheisa, and now back with Rick Barnes.
Well, I think just like you see a lot of defenses sometimes when you're playing offense, you have to just go out there, work hard, and do your thing. And I guess that's what Matt has had to do, adjust to some different coaching philosophies, but just continue to play hard. And he is in the best shape of his life this year, ready to finish it out for the Friars.
5 out of 6 for the line now for Eric Murdoch. He has 11 points to lead all scorers, and it's 19-19. We're tied again. The biggest lead of the game has been a 3-point advantage for Providence. Wright quickly out to pressure Cena. They get it to Green. His turnaround is good. He is silky smooth along that lane. 6 points.
And right now, the Rams have the tempo of this game going the way they want it. They're shooting it pretty well, not allowing Providence into the pressure.
Wright hits a 3. Darryl Wright, a 3-pointer. Wright can light it up.
Maybe this will be his night. He comes into this game averaging under 4 points a game in very limited action. But we've seen him games, John, where he's come out and gotten 20 points in a hurry.
He can really blister you if he gets hot. It's a 1-point lead now for Providence College. Cena with it to Oppenheimer.
Rhode Island should be looking for Green as much as possible down low.
Off the foot of Wright. We have 7:24 to play in the first half. Providence has a 1-point lead. Providence has picked it up a bit to move their shooting percentage above 40%. Rhode Island still under 40%.
Surprisingly, though, Rhode Island, I think a big reason why they're staying in this game so well is they're out-rebounding Providence early, 13-10, and that is a surprise. Gene Monge talking to Darryl Wright.
He was a little aggressive, don't you think?
Yeah,
there's about 2 feet over the line.
There's only so much line from the line to the seating area.
He's back there again.
Stay back, Gene Monge saying.
Dixon's jumper off the glass is good. He has 7 points. And it's a 1-point lead as we seesaw back and forth. Right now, Rhode Island on top. Bent outside. Carlton screen. Here's Murdoch.
Rick Barnes is really working a lot of different combinations in this first half, trying to find the right group that can get into that pressure game.
I was reading one of the preseason publications. One thing it said about Providence is they lost 2 starters and had 6 returning. That's the kind of mixed-up season it was last year.
That's right. You mentioned it early, John. And Rick Barnes, one of the best things he's done is he's gotten the confidence back, and he's got the players back that were, semi-in, semi-out last year. So as a result, this is a team that has quite a bit of experience collectively.
Conlon left the team early. Foster was not there at the end. Bent's turnaround is good. He is a good shooter. That's the word on him. He's averaging about 4 points a game. He gets 2 there.
The lefty looked good on that one with the rainbow. And look at the pressure that Providence gets to put on. I don't think Providence's initial trap is aggressive enough, though. The hands aren't up, and they're not on it as tight as I've seen them in the past.
Providence by a point, 6:35 to play. We're still in the first half. Oppenheimer hits a round screen. His jumper is short. Pushing off underneath. There was not much question about that. Morgan Cena was all alone, and there had to be a reason. 2 fouls on Cena.
Oppenheimer, since he came into the game for Steve Lane, who picked up a couple of early fouls, has played a pretty good floor game. Can't get this one to drop, but Cena, with that classic low push, getting the good position. Have to keep the hands up when you're the weak side rebounder.
Well, Cena will sit down. Right now it's Kenny Green, Evans, Dixon, Kent, and Oppenheimer. We're in the 1-and-1. We're in the bonus, so Wright will go to the line. Darryl shooting 66-7 at the line. Misses it. It's tipped out of bounds, but touched last by the Rams. So a break there for the Friars. They'll keep it after the miss on the front end of the 1-and-1. There's Coach Skinner. His very first season after 4 years as an assistant. Here's screen.
And what a year they enjoyed last year. Tom Penders, the head coach, leading the team to the final 16.
And Bent makes his second basket. Again, showing the good touch. And it's a 3-point lead. That matches the biggest that the Friars have had tonight. 26-23. Dixon into forecourt. Along the lane. Up. Knocked away by Bent. Carlton screen trying to spin away from Evans, but he traveled with the basketball.
Rick Barnes is over there motioning the dribble, and he's saying, how could he walk on that play while he was dribbling the basketball? Big spin move by Carlton screen. Here's Herb Dixon's penetrating move. Hangs that ball a little bit behind his head, and it gets blocked by 3 guys inside. Screen with the spin move. And he just loses the ball there. I really don't think he walked with it.
Jack Hannon made the call. Foster makes the rebound. Screen has Murdoch in front, Bent trailing. He'll take it into the lane, gives it up to Bent, looking for his 3rd basket, and missed an easy one. Over the top and over the back is Foster for the foul.
Bent made the mistake that time. He was so wide open, he started to backpedal a little after he shot it instead of shooting it and penetrating in to try to get the rebound in case he missed. Watch him after he shoots it. He's sort of saying, yeah, I'm going to go back and play a little D, but he forgets to send it down as Foster not in good position.
Would he have been better advised to just simply power his way right straight to the hoop with that basketball rather than try to sit there?
Yeah, he might have been, or just to at least shoot it and follow it. Sometimes the hardest shots are when you're wide open. You're only 5 or 6 feet from the hoop, and you don't have the glass to bank it in.
Jeff Kent is from Providence, Rhode Island. There are only 2 players between the 2 teams who are from the state of Rhode Island. Kent is one of them. And the other is also a reserve for Rhode Island. Brian Jenkins is from Middletown.
Kent has had some good minutes early in the season for the Rams. He comes in and rebounds. He's got a good touch.
Good foul shooter. He's 4 out of 5 for the season.
Seems to be very fundamentally sound. The Rams have stayed mostly man-to-man in this first half. Tends to leave you in better rebounding position.
Foster almost lost it, but he gets it to screen. Here's Murdoch with a lane jumper. It's too hard. Kicks out. Foster's there for the foul. And it's rejected by Green. Now Screen will try a foul line jumper. Good. Carlton Screen's first basket of the game. A 3-point lead once again for the Friars.
Was that timing by Kenny Green to just send back the jam? You don't see that very often.
You talk about playing above the rim. That's exactly what they were doing inside under the Providence basket.
Look at the timing by Green. He might have been right inside the net on that one. It's difficult to tell.
Knocked away. Green will key the inbounds play right in front of the Rhode Island bench. Gets it to Dixon.
He was either inside the rim on that or picked up part of the net on his way up. In any event, it wasn't a legal play by Green. He got away with it.
Here is Lane, who's back in. He went out early with a couple of fouls. Kent double team and hammered from behind by Wright. Well, Darryl Wright picks up his first personal foul, trying to come in from behind and strip him of the basketball.
That's Providence's game to an extent, though. Rick Barnes wants to see the tenacious defense, and when you do that, you've got to live with some fouling. As a matter of fact, if Providence isn't fouling, they're probably not in a very aggressive type of defense.
Kent is 2 for 2 at the line and a chance to cut that 3-point lead back to 1 again as he has a pair coming up. 4:54 to go, and he does show a nice soft touch. He is a freshman, 6'9", 240 pounds. Takes up a lot of space and seems to have a good touch with the basketball.
Now, he really does. He's a good-looking young player.
He's 4 for 4 at the line for all 4 of his points. It's 28-27, back to a 1-point Friar lead. Providence 6-0, their best start in 11 years. Screen to Wright. Goes up at the foul line and draws the 3rd personal foul from Lane. So Lane let him get by, then tried to catch up, and he gets hit with his 3rd foul.
Now that's what can happen when you get into foul trouble. Lane's game now, he'll have to sit down again in favor of Oppenheimer. This is like the old weave play here, John. Harlem Globetrotter action. Oh, and you can see the hack across the arm is Wright with the good pump fake.
Wright will go to the line for 2. Whatever shot he was going to get out of that was going to be an off-balance, very difficult shot. So it's kind of a tough foul for him to pick up.
Yeah, when you go out there and you've got 2 personal fouls, you just have to lay off that foul. But it's very difficult sometimes to get back into the flow, and you pick the 3rd one up before you get back into it.
Wright 1 out of 2 at the line. He has 6 points. He has the only 3-pointer of the night for Providence. Each team has 1 from 3-point range. And once again, it's a 3-point margin, 30-27. Time remaining 4:40. We're in the first half. Green almost lost it, but Oppenheimer has it.
Rhode Island's done a good job against pressure, but they have to get it over that midline. They did
not make it. Now, you do not see that very often. Oppenheimer hesitated, and he might have gotten a bit confused on where he stood time-wise when he got the ball.
Yeah, because Providence had really retreated at that point, but it took 6 or 7 seconds just to dig the ball out of the corner, and it was off of Green's leg. That just wasn't a heads-up play by the Rams.
Here is Foster. Kent is on him. Screen picked up by Dixon. A little bit of penetration. Now goes low. Foster is charged with an offensive foul inside. Cal Foster coming off that big game against Boston College earlier this week.
That's his 3rd personal foul. Look for Rick Barnes to move him out of there, maybe in favor of Shamsuddin, one of the other frontline players that he's got to use.
4:18 to play in the first half. Kent this time quickly to Oppenheimer. No problem with the 10 seconds there. Oppenheimer kicks it low. Dixon's turnaround jumper is going to be short, bent for the rebound. To Carlton Screen. Beats the double team. Down the lane, up, in, no good.
That's the walk. That time he did stutter with the ball. That was a good call.
He got the penetration, but he took the traveling violation.
Right around the foul line. He's going to lose it a little bit, and right there takes the extra step and walks.
This time it's Dixon who'll bring it across and beat the Providence pressure. 3:55 to play first half. A 3-point lead for the Friars, 30-27.
URI hasn't really been able to attack the pressure, but they've been good enough with the ball to set up and try to get shots off. That's a
Green
foul.
got from behind. It's knocked away by Bent. Back comes Murdoch to Bent. Lays it in. So far, Greg Bent, very impressive off the bench. He's got 6 points.
He's done a nice job. I thought Kenny Green got mugged a little bit going in on Rhodey's offensive end, and Al Skinner wants to talk it over.
3 minutes and 28 seconds to play in the first half. Biggest lead of the night so far for Providence. The Friars are up by 5 here at the Civic Center. We're 3 minutes and 28 seconds away from halftime. We hope you will stick around at halftime because we have a couple of guys you'll meet from Providence. Ryan Ford and Darryl Wright. They've been through the good times and the bad times. We'll also check up on what is happening in the Big East and look at the first half statistically in this game tonight. They turn it over.
After a timeout, you cannot move and run the baseline.
Kent
Steve
forgot.
Kent did.
There you see the shooting percentages, and again the edge to Providence. Murdoch gets it into Carlton's screen. His shot bends off and is rebounded by Green, and Murdoch got him.
Well, that's an area where Rhode has done a good job, though, in this first half, and we've seen a lot of Green and Kent doing the job on the defensive boards.
What a tremendous year for Rhode Island out of the Atlantic 10 last year.
Really?
28 victories, and you have to consider they lost twice to Duquesne, a team that had a terrible year last year, but Duquesne beat them at Rhode Island and also in the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh.
And there's always one team that can be a stickler during the course of the season, and sometimes it's a very unlikely team. Rhode Island in this game, 12 for 13 from the charity stripe.
Green has made all 3 of his foul shots. The only miss was by Mergen Cena. Oppenheimer checks out. Colson back in the lineup for the first time in a while as well. So Bonzie Colson takes over for Kent. Kent gave him some good minutes.
I was just going to say the same thing. Very solid minutes by Kent. Both ends of the floor rebounding and a good touch from the line.
So Cena and Colson are back in. Green is 4 out of 4 from the line.
Green has a nice touch as well. These big guys can shoot the ball for Rhode.
8 points for him. The lead for Providence College, as the Friars have the basketball, is 3 with 3:13 to play in the first half. Screen up with a jumper. Bends off. Ripped out of there by Green.
Was it ever?
Dixon back to Cena. Stripped from him. Colson saves it. Dixon almost traveled. Kicks it low to Evans. But we've got an offensive foul on Dixon.
Some wild action. Kenny Green with some big-time plays in this first half, and Herb Dixon, he got the offensive foul, I think, by kicking off with his leg on that play.
That was the call, and it's the first on him. The lead is 3 for the Friars. They have the basketball. Less than 3 minutes now, as you see remaining in the first half. It's 32-29.
Dixon made the mistake of leaving his feet. When you leave your feet, you cut down your options considerably.
Soft jump hook that time will not fall for Bent. I think we've got a foul underneath on Evans. Quentin Burton has checked into the line. Check if the foul is on Evans. Quentin Burton getting some playing time now, the junior from Columbia, Maryland. Shamsuddin is at the foul line. There you see Burton.
Burton had a very solid year last year. He was a Prop 48 kid 2 years ago. He's now in his junior season. I thought he had some very good minutes last year.
Shamsuddin shoots 76.5 at the foul line.
Shamsuddin only played 2 years of high school ball in Staten Island, so he's still a very, very young player by many respects.
Hits them both. Back to that 5-point lead. Double team.
That's
Dixon's
a good trap.
in trouble. Colson has it. They're going to have to hurry now. Dixon will beat the clock and kick it ahead to Evans.
Now that was a good trap in the corner. Very tight one with the hands up. Made it difficult for the Rams to get it out.
Cena looks inside. Green gets it along the lane. Off the glass. No good. Tips it up. Still battling for it. It's Murdoch. He's got Screen to his right. Screen gets the ball up under. It's blocked by Green, but it'll be goaltending. So Paco decided to take it all the way, and Green almost at one end to the other doing the same thing.
Well, I just watched Kenny Green this time, and he just waited in the wings and timed this one. Look at him right here. He's going for the block all the way. That was very close, but the ruling was that it was on its downward flight with a chance to go.
A 7-point lead, biggest of the night for Providence at 36-29.
Providence with that spurt that we were saying they could get in the first half as Screen picks up the blocking foul. But Providence is clearly the aggressor in this game, and when you press and you press, it does give you the ability to get that 6-8-point run.
I will put Dixon on the line as Marcus Bragg checks in. He's one of the freshmen for Providence. Bragg, number 24. He's from East Orange, New Jersey. Shamsuddin will sit down.
Dixon on the line.
And Dixon goes to the line.
Dixon's done a good, solid job in this first half, handling the ball. He's lost it a couple of times on penetrating moves, but played a pretty solid first half.
8 points for Dixon. He's 4 out of 5 at the line.
21, Darryl Wright.
Darryl Wright is back in once again as Quentin Burton will sit down. Dixon trying to slice the Providence lead to 5 and does.
Rick Barnes does a lot of substituting, keeping fresh bodies in, but he tries to keep Screener or Murdoch out there at all times, and right now he's got them both out there for the good ball handling.
This is Murdoch off the lane to Bent. He'll shoot it. It's too hard. A rebound ripped out of there by Morgansina. Dixon lead for Green. It winds up in the hands of Bent. Back comes Murdoch. The Carlton screen. He almost carried the ball.
Nice
They get it
pass.
to Wright, and he's hammered.
It looked like he almost walked with it, but he held his pivot foot down, then made an excellent scoop pass.
The foul is on Colson, his second, and Carlton almost scooted that pivot foot, then made the good feed.
Well, he gave so much upper body action that the crowd, certainly from URI's perspective, thought he moved it. Good no call.
That young man hit the weights pretty hard over the summertime, put on a lot of upper body muscle.
Yeah, these Providence players, where they run and press, look like they're in excellent shape.
Darryl Wright is 2 out of 3 at the line. Wright has 7 points in the game. It bends in.
Well, the bench points will certainly be a factor in this game, and between Wright and Bent in this first half, they've got 14 between them, and Shamsuddin has 4, so that's 18 bench points right there, John.
Well, Colson leaves the lineup. He was suffering from food poisoning coming into the game, and so he has seen a lot of playing time tonight. Wright misses the second. That's a 6-point lead with 1 minute and 25 seconds left to play. Knocked away by Murdoch. Cena thought Murdoch touched it last. The officials say otherwise. So Gene Monge gives it to Providence, and the Friars will bring it up.
URI stays in the man-to-man.
Green works against Dixon, goes along the baseline.
Both teams have played good, solid defense in this first half. They've really worked to keep positioning.
Give and go between Murdoch and Bent, and a traveling violation.
Murdoch left his feet, and we've seen that fundamental mistake a few times in the first half, usually resulting in turnovers.
Murdoch goes for the steal and draws the foul, his second. Eric Murdoch is so active offensively and defensively. He covers a lot of the court.
We mentioned his name on defense. He always seems to be around the ball. He was a quarterback on his high school football team. He's a tough kid. He's aggressive. And he's having a very good year.
A 6-point lead for the Friars as Murdoch sits down.
Chris Watts into the game for Eric Murdoch.
Second time that Watts has been on the court tonight.
Watts was voted most improved player on last year's club as a freshman.
Herb Dixon has 10 points, 6 of them from the line. He's 6 out of 7 at the foul line.
URI has stayed in this game for the latter part of this first half from the line.
Hit them both. So 11 for the senior from Boston, the transfer from Cleveland State, and the lead is down to 4 again. The biggest lead of the first half has been 7 for Providence. Providence College 10 points off turnovers, only 2 off turnovers so far for Rhode Island. Turnaround jumper by Bent is good. Nice soft touch. He got the jumper, and he has 8 points here in the first half.
He looks for it, too. Whoa, nice save by Kent to not turn it over.
And a tight double team. They call time. Possibly saved the ball.
Yeah, Cena was in trouble. He was heads up and used up one of the timeouts to not turn it over.
So we have 43 seconds remaining in this first half. The lead for Providence College is 6. And they like, Ronnie, to use that pressure to set up those runs, those spurts that you're talking about. If they can get the ball a couple of times, they can get you for like 6, 8 quick points.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a philosophy that a coach believes in, and it's a fun way to play, I think, for the players because it's constant motion, and the press may not work for a while, but all of a sudden, you can get a steal, you can score, you can get the crowd into the game, and suddenly you find yourself up by 6 or 8 points. And if you're down in a game, it also gives you the ability to get back into a game. You can tell I'm in favor of a pressure type of game.
Well, obviously so, but it certainly works for Providence.
You have to go with your personnel, and Providence has a lot of quick people, and that's a good trap. That's what we're talking about. The hands up, forcing the ball backward. Kent has to make a great play just to save it. And for a younger player watching this game, rather than turn it over, Cena calls timeout on the play and says, let's talk it over so that we go in at halftime with a bucket instead of turning it back to Providence.
So they will again attempt to beat the pressure. You can see the foul shooting has been outstanding for Rhode Island. Providence a little below their season average, and from the field, and the edge goes to the Friars.
Well, that's not very good shooting at all by URI, but they have hung in the game from the line. Providence's field goal percentage hasn't been very good either. A lot of quick shots in this first half.
And Peter Pavia has called time for a moment to make sure. I think that Dixon has checked into the lineup, or where do we stand exactly? The discussion with Al Skinner.
I think it was a problem with him checking back into the game, John. You've got to go down and tell the official scorer that you're going in. He may have run right in. He'll have to wait for a whistle now.
So it'll be Oppenheimer, not Dixon, on the court right now.
It's always nice if you're in the huddle, if you're on the bench, to say, I'm going to run right out there.
Sure, let's just go.
Have to keep some control over it.
They trap Cena. He gets it to Green. Green to Kent. Kent knocked away by screen, but Rhode Island will keep it with 35 seconds to play in the first half.
It seems that if Providence could rotate a man and cover the man taking the ball out of bounds against the press, that they'd pick up some steals. That seems to be where URI goes with their second pass every time against the press.
Now they get Dixon in, and he gets his hands on the basketball.
Rick Barnes, youngest head coach at just 34 years of age. He's got a lot of experience, though, with the number of schools he's been at. Assistant at Ohio State and Alabama prior to George Mason, and then here at Providence.
And he's worked, obviously, in some great basketball programs, and that's how you learn the game.
That's for sure.
Cena looks, but does not take the shot. Evans, as the shot clock winds down to 7 now. They're going to have to put it in the air. 5 seconds on the shot clock.
3 on the shot clock.
Dixon hits the shot. It's a 2-pointer. And no, it's a 3-pointer. They now say 3.
Big shot by Dixon. What a half he's played.
Dixon winds up with 14 points in the half. 39-36 Providence at halftime. So it was Murdoch who got Providence off to the great start. Dixon with a key shot right at the end of the half brings them back a bit. Biggest lead was 7. Right now the lead for Providence is 3 points. We are at halftime at the Civic Center. Rhode Island's against Providence. And you are going to meet Providence seniors Ryan Ford and Darryl Wright when we come back to the Civic Center. And we will do that right after this word from your local stations. 39-36 Providence.
I think personally for me, the most important thing is for me to be ready to practice every day. You know, it's obvious that I'm not going to get a lot of minutes in games, so it's more important for me to make the guys that are going to be playing in the games competitive during practice and make sure that they're able to get better so they're able to compete to the best of their ability during the game. Every day he comes out, practices as hard as he can for us, and I think in a lot of ways he is really a highly respected player on the team. Each player on this team appreciates what he does each and every day on the practice court.
He's someone who's dedicated himself, who's a hard worker, and gave a great deal to the team that wasn't noticed in statistics.
And, you know, when the time comes in the game, I think Ryan can go in there and do some things for us as long as he plays within himself. you know, I know that I'm not going to get as many minutes as Carlton, but, you know, I think that at any moment I got to be ready to play because, you know, obviously there's foul trouble if he gets injured, you know. So, I mean, you have to go into the game with that in mind.
My senior year, I'm trying to work hard, play good defense, and do all the little intangible things, work hard, rebound, run the floor, and just try to be a leader out on the court and off the court.
Well, we're looking for Darryl to provide us with quality minutes, simply because, you know, he has had some experience and he's had a little success here. What he needs to do is continue to improve on his all-around game, and I think once he gets that and starts understanding what we're looking for from him, you know, he'll end up helping us the way we need him to.
Once he incorporated discipline into his life, he became a better basketball player. He's someone that still obviously has to make that his common denominator in his life, the facet of discipline. We would never have been in the Final Four if it wasn't for Darryl's big game, obviously, that got us there, and certainly he was the MVP of the Southeast region.
We are at halftime in the Civic Center in Providence, Rhode Island, and our halftime score, the Friars lead the Rams of Rhode Island by a score of 39-36. We'll have our Big East halftime report coming up from Providence right after this word from your local stations. 39-36 is the halftime score here in Providence, Rhode Island. We're at a sold-out Civic Center as these two teams play for the 101st time. It's been a great series, and so far we've got a good game going. I'm John Sanders, along with Ron Perry. We talk about a young Big East season, and it is just that so far because conference play has not really started in full force, but still plenty of time to talk about some outstanding players. The Big East Conference as a whole is off to a great start. So is Seton Hall again, and John Morton outstanding.
That's right. Seton Hall was in the NCAA tournament last year, and one of the very consistent players that they have had in their program has been John Morton, and he's off to a very fast start again this year, and they'll need his excellent guard play as they continue in Big East Conference action.
Well, of course, Seton Hall did so well in the Great Alaska Shootout, won the championship up there. Another team from the conference that's highly regarded is the University of Connecticut. They've lost once, but they're also off to a good start, and they are inserting some freshmen into the lineup. As a matter of fact, they had the freshman of the week.
That's right. Chris Smith is off to a very good start for Jim Calhoun, and the people in Connecticut are excited about Chris Smith. He had a very fine game recently against Yale, and then came back with 16 points against Purdue. Is he ever quick? He's in the same kind of mold as Carlton Screen and Murdoch in terms of quickness.
Well, we mentioned it being a young part of the campaign at this point, and that conference play has not really gotten into full swing yet. There has been a game, though, and Providence was involved in that at Boston College as they inaugurated their new gym and had a pretty good ball game, especially for Providence. I think a lot of people were surprised that the Friars were able to handle the Eagles. You were there. What did you think?
That's right. Well, the Conti Forum was very nice for openers on BC's campus. I was surprised that Providence gave BC as much trouble defensively as they did. Dana Barros had 10 turnovers in the game. Screen and Murdoch were all over him, and Providence pounded the Eagles on the boards and won that game by 20.
Well, it was a big win there, the first one in the Big East play as far as Providence is concerned. But overall, as I mentioned, a very good start for Big East teams against their non-conference opponents. Let's check out the standings at this point. You see only the one game. Providence has the win. Boston College has the loss. But look at the undefeated teams. You have to go all the way down to UConn to find teams with losses.
Yeah, I think that's the point when you look at the Big East against the non-conference opponents. They've been very successful. And, of course, you've got 5 Big East teams that have been rated in the top 20. I'm not sure if UConn is going to be there next week after their 20-point loss or 15-point loss at Purdue.
Well, there's one game that is just getting underway right about now, and that is the St. John's game. St. John's is taking on Seton Hall. That could be a key early season matchup.
It really should be. A lot of people raise question marks about St. John's. They haven't had Michael Porter. He's not with the program this year. Boo Harvey won't be eligible for another couple of weeks for the first semester, so they have had some young people chip in, do very well. Malik Sealy and Robert Wordan inside, and Seton Hall off to a fast start. So that game should be a good one tonight.
It almost seems like the Redmen at times like to sneak up on people. They don't want anybody to think they've got anybody, but they always do come up with good players. So let's take a look at some highlights from the first half of this game, because it's been an interesting first half. Rhode Island staying with it. Off the bench came Kenny Green, and he was effective at both ends.
We talked about what a dynamite six-man Kenny Green is, and he can jump through the roof when he times it properly. He blocked several shots in the first half, had a couple of jump shots, and was definitely a factor in the first half of action.
He had 8 points in the first half, but you talk about good play off the bench. It was Greg Bent. He'll set up a play with a steal, kick the ball to Murdoch. Right from behind, he strips it, and then follows it up at the other end.
Providence did that several times. You just can't bring the ball down around your knees against this Providence team, or they'll take it away. Providence did a good job cashing in, and that's a great hustle play when you deflect the ball, hustle down court, and come up with the basket. Nice job by Greg Bent.
A good job, a good first half for Greg Bent. He had a total of 8 points. We are at halftime. Providence is back on the court. Rhode Island getting ready as well. It's a 3-point halftime lead for the Friars of Providence. Back with the second half here from the Civic Center in Providence after a word from your local station. A year ago, it was URI with a 92-70 victory over the Friars of Providence here at the Civic Center. That was a home game for Rhode Island. It's a home game for the young men in black and white tonight, as they are leading by 3 at halftime. Leading the scoring in the first half, Eric Murdoch had 11. He got off to a great start for Providence. Tailed off a bit at the end of the half. Darryl Wright also chipped in 8 off the bench. And we mentioned the fact that Greg Bent had 8. And we talked about key stats in terms of shooting. Free throw shooting has been extremely important. What we thought might be three-point shooting has not.
Now, that's been a non-factor. Providence has made just 1 3-pointer in the first half against a very tight and aggressive man-to-man by Rhode Island. They've been averaging 7 made 3-pointers a game, so that's a factor. And aside from the free throws, we thought rebounding would be very key. And the Rams have held their own off the boards, limiting Providence for most of the first half to just 1 try. We still have to keep an eye, though, on that press, because that is where Providence can break this game open a little bit. The Rams have built their confidence up now, and they know they can play with Providence.
Foster in the lane gets the foul in the basket. Foster very quiet in the first half offensively. That is his first basket of the game. Kyle Foster, a couple of foul shots. He hits the first basket of the second half, and he gets his name in the scorebook.
Stylish finger roll here, too, by Cal Foster. Nice drop step. And he goes up against a great shot blocker and puts it right in Kenny Green's face that time. Good move.
Green's second foul. Foster misses the foul shot. Morgan-Cena picks up the rebound. So Foster is not connected from the foul line, has just the 1 basket. The difference in the game is 5. Dixon gets a screen from Cena and hits the shot.
That wasn't a good job defensively by Providence that time. Screen got picked off and didn't get any help by Matt Palazzi.
16 points for Dixon. Here's Murdoch in the lane. Jump shot good. Starting out just as he did at the beginning of the ball game. That's 13 now for the sophomore Eric Murdoch. Turned over by Rhode Island.
And more importantly, it allows Providence after the main field goal to set up the press.
Palazzi misses a 3. Green is there for the rebound. Green starting the second half along with Evans, Dixon, Colson, and Cena.
Matt Palazzi yet to break into the scoring column, and he's been in double figures most of this year.
Cena sets it up for Evans outside. Now Dixon is carrying the scoring load tonight. Dixon with 16 points. Screen pressures him. We're just underway in the second half. 43-38. Providence leads and has the basketball back. Marty Conlon from outside. Palazzi stepped on the sideline before he went up for the 3-pointer and turns it over. So Matt Palazzi, who has not scored, as you pointed out, for Coach Rick Barnes. He wants the pressure.
Well, the last game that Providence played against BC was the first time that Palazzi did not score in double figures. He was MVP of the Fleet Classic earlier in the year and comes in sporting an average just under 15 a game. So he's been really held in check in this one.
Cena pressured by Palazzi outside. Along the baseline, Dixon goes to Green to Dixon.
Nice look. Good give and go play, and Dixon is having one heck of a game for URI with 18 points.
Dixon with 18. Here's Conlon, fakes the shot, takes it down the lane, and hits the jumper. So Marty Conlon, who had 2 baskets in the first half, gets one here. The lead back to 5 at 45-40 Providence. Murdoch goes for the steal. Comes up empty. Here's Dixon.
Both teams are shooting the ball much better to start this second half. The first half was by no means a shooting clinic, but the shot selection here much better.
And the 5-second call will turn it back the other way.
Have to penetrate by your man within 5 seconds, and Dixon stayed even with Carlton's screens, unable to penetrate, and as a result, good call in the 5 seconds.
For Providence, chance to match its biggest lead of the night. Alazi with a jump shot. He's forcing it a bit, and it rattles out.
I think he is. He's a little frustrated that he hasn't broken into the scoring column and has been letting it flow out of the offense so far this year, but right now trying to create on his own.
His father, Togo Alazi, a tremendous player at your alma mater.
One of the great ones in Holy Cross history. Played on the 1954 NIT championship team with my father. Great scorer, Togo.
It's Dixon outside. Screen gets a hand on the ball. Dixon, jumper off the lane, too hard. And Murdoch there for the rebound, the foul on Evans. That's what I mentioned about Murdoch being so aggressive and moving around the court. He got himself in good position for the rebound.
And John Evans has been somewhat quiet offensively for Rhode Island. He has just 4 points in the game, and he came in averaging 17. The main man has been Herb Dixon. He's doing it all.
No question about that. He has scored the last 11. It's a 5-point lead for Providence. Stuck on 45-40 for a while. Murdoch looks in, goes inside, gets it back. Now gives it up. The young man they call Paco, and Carlton's screen turns it back the other way.
Hesitated and walked, and we've seen that a couple of times in this game.
Came in leading his team in steals with 28, and there's a steal for Murdoch.
That's the anticipation I talked about, John. That second pass is to the man out of bounds.
Alazi uses the glass, and it still won't go. He can't score from long range or short range right now.
Now, the good shots aren't there, but that adjustment by Rick Barnes must have been made at halftime. He said, let's adjust and anticipate that ball to the man, taking it out of bounds in the press.
And Cal Foster trying to cut his man off in the lane, picks up the foul. That's 4, and Shamsuddin will quickly check in for the Friars. So Cal Foster a little frustrated tonight. He had the big game against BC, and he leaves here.
He is not going to probably be a big scorer all year for Rick Barnes, but what he does want to do is keep him out of foul trouble, get him rebounding consistently. But he did have that big 20-point night against BC where it all went right for him.
Here is Colson from outside with a jumper that bends in. You know, I talked to Rick Barnes about that 20-point night as Colson gets his first basket, and he said he hopes that Cal Foster doesn't plan on scoring 20 a night, because that's not what he wants from him.
Now, that's not his role on this team. It's to get the rebounds, to block some shots, and be an intimidating factor inside.
And Evans gets the foul. The shot will not count. That's 3 on John Evans.
Been a lot of fouls in this game, mainly because of the fact that both teams are playing very aggressive defense. Now, John Evans and Steve Lane with 3 personals for the Rams.
15:59 left to play in the basketball game. The lead is 3 for Providence. We'll be back with more after a word from your local stations. Plymouth Player of the Game will be selected at the conclusion of this contest and during every game. Televised by the Big East Conference Television Network as part of the Chrysler Corporation sponsorship of Big East basketball.
We had to speculate early. Eric Murdoch is certainly playing another good all-around game for Rick Barnes. He's got 13 points, and Herb Dixon for the Rams with 18 has been outstanding.
They have to be the leading contenders right now, but we'll see what happens in the final 15 minutes of this game. Shamsuddin's turnaround won't go, but he draws the foul. And the foul is on Green, and that is 3 on him. Kenny Green playing a lot of minutes, started the second half, something he normally does not do.
He has to play a lot of minutes in this game with Providence's big front line. Such a talented player.
25, Abdul Shamsuddin on the line.
Well, Shamsuddin is 2 for 2 from the foul line. Make it 3 for 3.
Does not waste much time at the line. Once he gets the ball from the official, he's got a very quick routine, but he's accurate with it.
Jeff Kent will take the spot of Kenny Green. He gets a breather.
Big thing. Sorry, John. I say the big thing from the foul line is to get an important rhythm down that you're comfortable with, and Shamsuddin's is obviously one that is rapid.
Here is Kent. Sets up Cena, who in turn sets up Dixon outside. They had the tremendous guard play last year of Carlton Owens and Tom Garrick. Each of those players averaged over 20 points a game out front.
Great backcourt.
That's tough to replace.
Sure is. 3,500 points in their career between them.
Evans bangs it home. His first basket of the second half. 6 points for him. The lead is down to 3. Rhode Island just keeps hanging in there. They won't let Providence push them back. Low to Conlon. Turn around on the baseline. Lost the ball out of bounds. Tried to spin around Kent that time. Could not control the basketball. Now a chance for Rhode Island to cut it to 1, or possibly with a 3-pointer to tie the basketball game.
It was actually a good move by Conlon, but sometimes he gets moving a little bit quicker than he can control himself, and as a result, he turned it over.
Wright checks in for Palazzi. Here is Dixon. 1-on-2, the jumper. Short.
Not a good shot.
Screen takes the rebound. Inside 15 minutes now left in the game. Good move by Screen. He kicks it off. Wright starts to move along the baseline and drew the foul. He was going to go to the baseline no matter what.
Cena picked up his 3rd foul, so it's Evans, Cena, Lane, and Green, all with 3 personal fouls.
And there's one player, Cal Foster, who's on the bench with 4 fouls for Providence. Let's watch it again. He was determined. And it's a good thing he got fouled before he got along that baseline, or he would have picked up the offensive foul against Colson.
That wasn't much of a foul by Cena either. It was really a touch foul. Wasn't in good position.
Murdoch goes right inside to Shamsuddin. Turn around, bending off.
Must have been a lid on the basket on that shot by Shamsuddin.
Covered all sides and would not fall, so still the lead is 3 for Providence.
More importantly for the Rams, that doesn't allow Providence to set up their press, which gives URI a break for a change.
Olsen way outside, pressured by Conlon.
Good defense.
And he has to call timeout.
You have
That's
to
about
call
all
that.
he could do. He had no place to go with the ball.
You have to call that timeout after 4 seconds. He just got it in.
14:25 to play in the game. The lead is 3 for Providence over Rhode Island. Back with more after a word from your local stations. As we come back, shot missed from the side by Murdoch, and back comes Rhode Island. Still down by only 3. Evans up with no place to go. It bangs off his head, and Rhode Island keeps it.
Lucky bounce. Once again, he left his feet where nowhere to go with it. Got the good bounce off the head.
Here's Colson on the baseline. Second basket of the second half for Bonzie Colson, the senior from Sidland, Maryland.
John, the longer that Rhode Island hangs around in this game, their confidence continues to build.
Try to get it to Shamsuddin. Now a chance for Rhode Island to take the lead. It'll be Dixon. Cena. Here's Kent with a jumper from the foul line. It's good, and the lead goes to Rhode Island.
Jeff Kent has played outstanding from the floor in this game, and Providence right now is in a fight with the Rams. They're handling Providence's pressure very well.
48-47. Conlon started to move. He almost traveled. He does turn it over to Kent. Here's
great floor game Dixon has.
Palazzi stripped by Conlon. Carlton screen starts back. A 1-point lead for Rhode Island. 13 minutes exactly remaining in the game.
Providence right now, this is a good job by Screen, and this is maturity. Needs to settle down, get some good penetration, and get it down low.
Conlon trying to penetrate, forces it up, and drew the foul from Kent. Marty Conlon does not have good quick moves, nothing like Kenny Green, for example, when he gets the ball. He kind of labors when he turns and goes inside.
He has an off, he shows a lot of movement, but he's not always covering a lot of ground. He's got a lot of head and shoulder fakes, but it's clear that he's much more effective when he gets it in the paint area than he is handling and dribbling the ball around the foul line area when he turned it over.
His first time at the line tonight. Shoots 66-7 on the year and hits the first one. 7 points now for Marty. He's a junior from Bronxville, New York. Was not happy last year, left the team, and back in. Greg Bent, who was so effective off the bench in the first half, takes the spot of Shamsuddin.
Well, Marty Conlon was definitely a key cog to have back this year for Rick Barnes.
Hits 2. Marty averaging 14 points a game, has 8 tonight. So once again, Providence is seesawed back in front at 49-48.
For the most part, Rhode Island has been content to break the pressure and just get it in the hands of number 11, Herb Dixon, and set up.
Threw that one away. Colson did not come out as they were looking for him to do, and the ball is turned over. Murdoch will bring it up. He's got Chris Watts in the ball game right now, too.
A lot of times when you have rivalries, no matter what the record's coming in, anything can happen. A lot of emotion and intensity in this one.
Also, Matt Palazzi has returned.
Matt Palazzi has to get it to the goal for Providence. The jumper not dropping. Oh, backdoor move.
Murdoch draws the foul. So Kent will pick up his second personal foul here in the second half. Good look that time by Conlon.
Oh, that was just a nice flash to high post by Providence. Backdoor cut by Murdoch, and John Evans was nowhere to be found on that play.
And they have called a technical foul.
Watch the flash by Conlon. John Evans is just, you know, has lost complete sight of his man. And Murdoch flew by him. Two-shotter.
The technical foul called against the URI bench. So Murdoch with a chance at the line where he's 5 out of 6. Misses that one. It was charged to Coach Skinner.
This is a chance for Murdoch now to nail 2 more foul shots on the technical. Plus it'll be Providence.
Could be a key point in this basketball game.
5 or a 6-point play depending on what happens out of this.
Here is his 4th straight attempt. He's made 2 of the first 3. 3 out of 4 and a total of 16 points.
Plus the ball for Providence. And if they can score and put their press on.
The lead is 4.
Another chance for a spurt by PC.
Murdoch to Watts.
Crowd has been quiet in this game too. They're looking for Providence to do something to really excite them. Oh,
threw it away, looking for Palazzi. Dixon instead.
Nice. Oh.
Fouled from behind by Murdoch. Rhode Island wants an intel call. They don't get it.
Providence doesn't capitalize on the big opportunity, although he did pick up 3 points.
Murdoch has just picked up his 3rd personal foul. So he could be in some trouble. 7:50 to go. Plenty of time left in this game. 52-48 Providence by 4.
And the way Rhode Island has shot free throws in this game, that's been their strong suit.
Dixon has 18 to lead all scorers. Eric Murdoch has 16 points. And he will lead the lineup as Paco. Carlton Screen checks back in. Another strong performance by Murdoch. Coming off a 26-point career matching high against Boston College.
Played a great game in that one. Plus he played Dana Barros. It made life just miserable for Barros.
Dixon's first miss. He was 7 for 7 and one that was waved off because of a lane violation in the first half. So 19 points now for the transfer from Cleveland State. The lead is 3, 52-49.
Here's URI with that soft 3/4 court pressure, trying to slow Providence down, and they're doing it.
Palazzi. Jumper from the side, off the glass and good. First basket of the game for Matt Palazzi. He finally gets on the board.
Had a feeling he was going to put that one up, even though it was a 2-on-1 with the good touch.
5-point lead. Biggest of the game came in the first half. It was a 7-point edge. Colson's turnaround rattles out. Tipped away, touched last by Marty Conlon, and URI will keep it. So Al Skinner up with some instructions for the play they want to run underneath. It'll be keyed by Dixon. Simply flips it to Evans. Hits the baseline against Watts, up and in.
Good quick move by John Evans, and at 6'5", he had to release it quickly, and he did. Too much dribbling by Screen.
Pressure and a foul called on Bent.
That was too much pounding of the ball right there by Carlton Screen, and he was surrounded by 3 light blue jerseys and lost it.
So Bent picks up the foul. Rhode Island gets the basketball back, down by just 3, 54-51. We have 11 minutes and 3 seconds remaining in the game.
URI's done an excellent job in this game getting back against Rick Barnes' club offensively. So when Providence has pressured the ball down court, there's always been blue jerseys around.
Dixon is pushed by Carlton Screen, so Carlton will pick up his 2nd foul. Inside 11 minutes as Murdoch with 3 fouls returns for Watts. Right now Colson, Dixon, Evans, Kent, and Cena on the court for Rhode Island. It's Bent, Palazzi, Screen, Murdoch, and Conlon right now for Providence. The Rams have the ball. Cena trying to muscle in against Conlon, who's called for the foul. Conlon trying to body him off that baseline. So Marty picks up his 2nd foul, and you're right, there have been a lot of fouls in this game.
There's a lot of time left to go in this game, and that was actually Conlon's 3rd personal foul. And he bodies up, he's riding Cena there, and that's a good call. He's got to get his foot onto the baseline and avoid that body foul. Didn't get there.
Cena off the glass, rolls over, Conlon rebounds. Screen to Murdoch. Inside to Bent. Gets his man up off the glass and good. Bent has 10 points.
That's why coaches are always suggesting to their inside people, get the pump fake.
A 5-point lead now for Providence. Rhode Island with it. Dixon has really controlled the offense for the Rams.
Yeah, he has. Rhode Island right now getting the ball where they should against pressure in the middle, and Dixon making good decisions to hold up because PC is back defensively.
Dixon averaging almost 15 a game, has 19 tonight. Here's Cena from outside, bending off. And another good rebound by Conlon. That's 2 in a row for him off the board.
Great job in traffic.
Screen, here's Murdoch. See how quickly he gets himself into position. Now it's Bent working his way off the glass and in. Greg Bent has 12 points.
That's an excellent move by Bent. He's gone to the pump fake 2 times in a row. And bear in mind, for URI, they've used up 2 of their 4 timeouts. So Al Skinner would probably just as soon keep them if he can for a little later in the game, unless this spurt gets really big by PC.
And at 9:38, could this be the spurt? Dixon tried to cut it off, can't do it. Rebound. The Friars with a chance to take their biggest lead of the night, and they've got Bent alone at the other end. Takes it in and scores. Count it. Greg Bent, 14 points. The lead is 9.
Well, we were looking for some explosiveness by PC and a little bit more crowd involvement. And that was the run right there, keyed by Greg Bent.
Keyed by Greg Bent is right. So he jumps into the picture as a possible player of the game because he has been very effective off the bench. Now they trap Cena. Green back in the lineup to Evans. Conlon is there. No foul.
This is where URI really needs to answer to quiet things down. Best way to do that is to score a basket on your own. Probably try to get Kenny Green involved. He was a big factor in the first half.
The lead is 9. Biggest lead of the night. Cena along the baseline gives it up. A good move by Evans as he uses the glass.
John Evans is very crafty, and Mergen Cena at 6'8". He's been a backcourt man for much of his career. He knows how to handle it.
Cena with a steal. He's got Dixon there, and they're going to call
double dribble.
Could not really control the ball. Cena with his long arms did a good job in setting up the steal, but Dixon gave it back.
Well, Mergen Cena is 6'8". He is all over screen there. And you can see right here that Dixon had the ball, lost it, and dribbled again, and that's a double dribble.
8:48 to go in the game. Kent pressuring Bent. Palazzi.
Everything is picked up a couple of notches on the floor right now.
7-point lead. Carlton screen will reset now the half-court offense. Bent looks low. There's Murdoch. Does not look at the basket. Goes instead to Palazzi. Tries to come back the other way, and somehow Murdoch gets it. Palazzi for 3. It is short. Green with a rebound.
That Palazzi's a little flat with his outside shot, but Kenny Green, boy, he has springs in his legs.
He goes up early and he stays there.
Does he ever? Both teams playing very tight man-to-man defense.
It is Green working. Evans lays it home. Good feed from Green. Evans has 12, and back come the Rams. It's a 5-point lead again. Palazzi off the glass and good.
Both teams right now are going at each other with all guns blazing.
Dixon behind the back. Intended for Evans, deflected by Murdoch. The Rams of Rhode Island will keep it. 7:48 remaining in the game. It's 62-55. A lead is 7. We'll be back with more basketball after a word from your local stations. We have 7:48 to play in the game. I'm John Sanders along with Ron Perry, and we're going to shoot just about everything from the foul line from here on out because we've had a bunch of fouls in the second half. And Rhode Island's got a bit of a problem. Palazzi, tremendous three-point shooter for most of the season, but it has not been there for him tonight.
No, his shot has been a little bit flat. He's got great springs in his legs. He just needs a little bit more height on that ball. He's falling front iron.
Here's Dixon. He's been the key offensively. Dixon with 19 points in the game. Colson outside. Not much of a factor offensively. Colson does not shoot that much. Mergen Cena averaging 15 a game, and Cena has a grand total of 1 point in this game tonight.
He's played pretty well, though. He's made a couple of good passes. He's got his hand on a couple of balls. He just hasn't shot it that well as Shamsin Dean flies up against Kenny Green inside, picking up that one.
Picks up his 3rd foul. That's the 16th foul, so we will shoot everything from now on.
A lot of people with 3 for the Friars.
Cena gives it back to Dixon to Colson. He's got the foul line jumper way short. Cena saves it, then misses the shot, goes up again and scores. First basket of the game for Cena. He has 3 points. 7:05 to play. Palazzi against Cena. Conlon down inside, rejected by Green.
Marty Conlon established excellent position against Bonzie Colson. Kenny Green has a great knack, sees the floor very well from the weak side. Now that's a very pretty block, and it sends a message inside, but he usually keeps the ball in play for the Rams.
Palazzi with a miss. Dixon to Evans. Murdoch can't catch him. He rolls it home. Evans a strong second half. He's got 10 points in the second half, 14 points on the night. The lead is 3 for Providence.
I was going to say, Evans has really come to life. He averages 17 a game. Very crafty inside.
There is Conlon. Tipped away, saved by Screen. He'll challenge inside and get it. He had to go high up with his shot, but he gets the basket. The edge is 5 for Providence College. The Friars trying to go 7-0. Evans is double teamed near the half-court line, bounces it off Palazzi, and saves it for his team.
That's a pretty heads-up play by Evans. He was trapped just over midcourt, which is exactly where you'd like to trap defensively. And Al Skinner talking offensive strategy to his players. Dixon needs to get a little bit more penetration with the ball, get it down around 15 feet to set up his people inside, or set up his own shot.
6:08 remaining in the game. Rhode Island down by 5. The Rams have the ball. Green. Murdoch tries to steal. Green shot no good. Palazzi there for the rebound. Conlon had cleared the lane out pretty well.
And Kenny Green faded away. No one there to rebound.
Screen with the left-hand shot is good. Carlton Screen down the lane. He's got 8 points.
Great body control by Screen, and he shows that he can go either way with it. When you're as good a penetrator as Screen and as good a passer, really puts the defense on their toes.
Back to a 7-point edge. Evans. Dixon for 3. Bending off. Shamsuddin had it, lost it, and it's the Rams who come up with it. Nope. Finally winds up with an offensive foul by Screen. Everybody was so bunched in. Dixon positioned himself so that when Carlton turned around, there was no place to go.
That was a very, very tough call right here. Wild action inside. Screen can't get a handle on it. Evans actually should hold on to it because the possession arrow favors Rhode Island, dishes it. I'm not sure Dixon gave Screen room to come down on that play. You have to let him come down, plant his feet, and if you're right behind the man, take a half turn. And Screen came down and bumped right into him. I think that was a blocking foul.
It went Dixon's way. Murdoch strips the ball out of the hands of Evans and out of bounds.
John, you can come right up on a man's side, but if a guy leaves his feet, he has to be allowed to come down. The Screen that time landed right on Dixon and got called for an offensive.
Cena puts it in the hands of Dixon. That's what they have done most of the night. We have seen very little of Steve Lane since he got in foul trouble. The turnaround by Evans is too hard, and he is knocked down by Murdoch. That's 4 on him.
These fouls are really starting to become a factor. Never want to foul a jump shooter, and Rick Barnes now has a number of people on the fringe of being in very serious foul, and Murdoch isn't one of them. He is in serious foul trouble.
And we have almost 5 minutes left in the game. The Friars have 2 with 4, 2 with 3. The Rams have 4 players with 3 personal fouls.
Rick Barnes does have more answers to go to as he brings in Chris Watts here.
That's one of them.
He's also got sitting on the bench. He's got Greg Bent, who's had an outstanding game. Darryl Wright has come in and given some good minutes to him in this game. So he does have people that he can go to, more so than Al Skinner on the other end.
So at the line, Evans is 3 for 3 tonight. Hit both of his chances in the first half. He's had a great second half. 11 points in the second half, 15 overall.
Well, he's a senior. He's been around, and he was on that Sweet 16 team from last year.
Again, Shamsuddin lost control of the basketball. It's out of bounds. Touched last by Rhode Island.
That's where Cena doesn't quite have the height to finish off inside. A couple of his shots have been rejected in this ball game.
Shamsuddin have a little problem hanging on to the basketball. 6-point lead with 4:48 to play. The Friars have led most of the way. Only once in this game has Rhode Island been able to squeeze out a 1-point lead.
That's right. Both teams have just gone at each other in combat, man-to-man D.
Palazzi misses. Green will chase it down. Matt Palazzi just ice cold tonight.
Yeah, when you're not getting it to drop down, I said this before, it's sometimes wise to try to get it to the goal, see if you can get a layup or get fouled and go to the foul line.
Here's Green as he comes out to take the feed from Cena. Dixon wants him to clear out the side, goes to Colson, he turns.
Rams just won't go away in this game. Still just a 6-point game. A basket continues to make it very tight.
Cena with penetration, the block by Shamsuddin.
It is another rejection because he gives up 2 or 3 inches inside. He needs to get better distance between himself and the defender to get that shot off in there. Good penetration by Dixon, but too close to Shamsuddin taking that one by Cena as he gets rejected.
Why not pull up and take a little bit longer jumper?
That's right, and then he's got 4 or 5 feet to get the shot off.
Bent and Wright have checked back in for Providence, slipping down, and a traveling violation called on Dixon. Dixon lost his footing as he drove the lane. 3:57 remaining in this game. It's 66-60 Providence. The Friars have the lead. We'll be back with more after this. .66-60 is the score. The action has been hot and heavy, and so far the Rams are hanging on.
That's been the story of this game. They just won't go away as Cena gets rejected inside for the second time by Shamsuddin. As you see, Kenny Green is competing with the whole Providence front line in that category.
Dixon with it. Pressured by Watts. Knocked away that time by Bent and out of bounds. Bent was the Providence player who touched it last. Watts could not get there to save it, so once again the Rams will put the ball in play. 3:44 left in the game.
Sure, Al Skinner talked about keeping it in Dixon's hands and just trying to penetrate to the goal.
Evans is fouled by Watts. John Evans, continuing a strong second half performance, picks up the foul. Chris Watts, his first foul.
When you get it to the goal, the Providence has been fouling in this game. URI has been very accurate from the line, so that's a good strategy by Al Skinner.
So Eric Murdoch will come back on the court. Watts sits down. So for the final 3:39 or whatever, Murdoch is there. And when a guy is as aggressive as he is, gets 3 fouls, he's always in danger of picking up the one that's going to put him on the bench.
Now that's the risk, but you've got to rely on his experience now to go out there and play the defense with his feet.
Evans hits a pair. Great ball game for Evans, especially the second half. The lead is 4.
Full court pressure now by the Rams. They're sort of giving PC a taste of their own strategy with that 1-2-1 full court pressure.
Conlon starts a move against Colson. Looks inside. Here's Bent. Gets it over Green, but it won't fall. Tipped up and controlled by Green.
Green is really a force underneath for the Rams.
Green caused the miss. Gets the loose ball. Now it's Dixon against screen. Gets around him. Stripped by Murdoch. A very dangerous play, but he got the strip of the basketball. Here's screen at the other end. Jumper bending. It'll be tipped in, but no basket.
I don't think they're going to count it. I think the ball was over the cylinder when Bent hit it.
They might be calling a foul on Bent as well as he crashed in for the tip in. The basket does not count.
So regardless, it was a foul. It was a push before he ever tipped the ball. 2-on-2 fast break opportunity, not a big advantage, and there was a push by Bent before he even tipped it. And I don't think it would have been good anyways, as the ball had a piece of it hanging over the rim.
Well, Dixon will go to the line.
Dixon on the line, 1-1.
Well, this can close it to 2 points if Dixon can connect.
Looking for 20, bending off. Wright is there for the rebound. Dixon was perfect 7 for 7 in the first half, only 1 out of 3 in the second half. A costly miss with 2:49 to play in the game.
Well, the one-on-one free throws are clearly critical down the stretch.
Well, it was great foul shooting in the first half. Wright finally works his way in for a shot. So off the bench comes Darryl Wright. He has 10 points. Back to a 6-point Providence lead.
URI just hasn't been able to get over the hump in this game, but they've challenged Providence. Providence right now with a little bit more manpower going after the Rams.
Here's Cena. They look low. Here's Green bending in. Green hit the deck, gets the basket. But Green's first basket of the second half. He has 10 points. It's a 4-point lead.
I think he's the go-to guy for URI down the stretch. Get it to Kenny Green as much as possible. And for Providence, with the lead, they should work the clock, keep it in Murdoch and Screen's hands as much as possible. Look for the high percentage shots against the tight man-to-man.
Wright rejected by Green. Murdoch saves to Screen. A 6-point lead for Providence.
Oh, big break for Providence on the rejection. Nice jump shot. Green and Conlon. Green nailed Marty Conlon or Darryl Wright.
They called an intentional foul, did they not?
That's a big play by Kenny Green, not using his head. Screen with a very big jump shot. Kenny Green had just swatted this shot out of there, kept it in play, but it went to Providence, and Kenny Green right there just throws Wright to the ground and nails him on the way out, and that's the one the official picked up.
That will put Wright on the line after the intentional foul.
That's a flagrant foul, so they're going to shoot 2 here.
41, Darryl Wright shoots 2.
All right, 3 out of 5 from the foul line in the first half. And this crowd of 13,047, a capacity crowd basically here at the Civic Center, is really getting into it now.
Kenny Green just manhandled Darryl Wright on that play.
Right lineup, number 22.
So Matt Palazzi checks in for Wright. Green comes back out. He's got 4 fouls now. Minute 50 to play in the game.
Plus that would have been URI's ball coming up, and Providence will have possession when we come back from this break. So big play.
5-point lead, a minute 50 to play. Don't go away. We'll be back to Providence with more basketball here as Rhode Island takes on the Friars. Coming into the game, the average margin of victory in this undefeated season for Providence was 24 points. Well, it's not that way tonight. You see the score there, 71-64. 1-1 as Colson picks up the foul. You can see the points inside, the difference between the two teams. Colson picks up the foul. That will put Conlon on the line.
Just by that score, though, John, 71-64 Providence. Rhode Island, you have to give credit to that they've kept the pace of this game down somewhat. I think if it turned into a track meet, that it clearly favored Providence with the deeper bench. And they've only allowed Providence a couple of mini runs, but they've never gone away in this game. They've always hung tough.
Kent replaces team captain Colson, and it's Conlon at the line, missing the front end.
Big one.
So Conlon with the miss. A minute 43 to play. Count the time down with us. Dixon looks low, comes back instead to Cena. Off the lane, keeps his dribble, now turns, looks, no place to go. Here's Evans. Top of the circle, jump shot, good. Evans, a great second half. He's got 19 points now.
The clock right now is Providence's biggest ally, though. They'll have to work the clock, and Rhode Island really has to reach in and gamble right now to try to stop that clock.
5-point lead. Bent comes out to take the basketball. He's played extremely well, as has Murdoch, who's picked up by Evans.
And they've been 2 key guys, but Bent has been a major surprise off the bench with his 14 points. I think URI letting too much time tick off.
The blocking foul on Dixon.
They let the shot clock work down to 22 seconds. If you're going to commit that foul, you might as well commit it 10 or 15 seconds ago so you have more time to work with.
That's his second.
Only the second foul on Dixon. We have a minute and 1 second remaining in the game.
Number 11.
Providence trying to push its record to a perfect 7-0.
That's a good start.
It's a great start.
Sure is.
If you're coming off a season. And again, they missed the front end, so you keep them in. You come off a season that you only won 11 games last year and a chance to win the first 7 this year.
You know what it does? It builds confidence and gets people really revved up about your system.
Dixon gives it back to Cena for 3. It's going to be short, but Cena keeps it alive. Here's Kent in the lane, bending, tipped in, no basket. They say it was on the cylinder, I think, and Green will not get the basket.
Jeff Kent gets the ball up there. Let's see if it was hanging over. It was sitting on the rim. Good call.
Palazzi with the ball.
Any piece of that ball is on or above the cylinder. It's offensive interference. That ball clearly was.
Cena will pick up his 4th foul, and there are only 32 seconds left in this one. The Friars think they've got it squeezed away, although it wasn't easy. 71-66 is the score.
And they're still going to be forced to hit a couple of these foul shots to ice it. And Marty Conlon and Carlton Screen have both missed one-on-ones in the last minute. Got a feeling Screen is going to drop this one down.
In the final 3 minutes of the game, the team is shooting at a 65.4 clip from the line. Carlton Screen is now 3 out of 5 in the final 2 minutes.
Screen has been a good money player, though, and he does look confident right now nailing these ones.
Screen misses the second, though.
Rhode Island with 1 timeout left. They'll look for a quick basket in a timeout, I think, here.
Dixon off the glass, tipped up once, twice by Green, and he's fouled by Conlon. It almost seems that Green, when he goes in the air, just stays there for a while.
That time he really did hang because the ball hit the rim and hung up there. He did seem to suspend himself, and that's just his great athletic ability.
22 seconds left to be played. It's 72-66. Biggest lead of the game was 9. Biggest lead for Rhode Island was 1, and the difference right now is 6. So Al Skinner looking at a possibility of starting the follow-up season to a tremendous year, 1-3.
After 3 fairly close losses now to Arizona State, Northeastern, and if they can't pull off a miracle here to Providence, but there still is 22 seconds to go. A lot can happen.
Green with 11 points in the game, but only 3 in the second half. He's hit all 5 of his foul shots.
He's been active on the boards, but hasn't gotten it a lot offensively.
Bangs the back of the iron and comes out. Murdoch with a big rebound. He's double teamed, trying to get out of trouble.
I think Evans reached in and fouled him, picking up his 4th personal. It's been a tough battle this whole way through. Both teams have gone at each other defensively. A lot of fouls, a lot of free throws.
Well, Cena, Everine all with 4 personal fouls. Foster, Murdoch each have 4 personal fouls for Providence. And the Friars, with their brand new head coach, Rick Barnes, trying to open up 7-0. That's not a bad way to start.
Oh, that's fantastic. And as we said, he's got some players that, for different reasons, weren't around last year, back with the program. And this breeds success, and you start winning games that are close ones when you get off to this great start.
Murdoch coming off that 26-point effort against PC the other night. Hits 2 from the foul line and has 18 tonight. He's the leading scorer for Providence. 15 seconds remaining in the game. Dixon from long range hits the 3. 22 points for Dixon as he hits his second 3-pointer.
Does he ever get up when he takes the jump shot? He was off the ground by, it seemed, 3 feet when he let that one go.
Well, he was able to fire from that position, hit it with 10 seconds to play in the game, and makes it a 74-70 ball game. You look at some of the individual scoring. I mentioned Eric Murdoch with 18, Darryl Wright with 11. Pretty good job by Darryl tonight off the bench, but you have to give a big tip of the hat to Greg Bent, who roared off the bench to score 14 points, and that helped Providence to a great extent. As a matter of fact, we thought so much of it, we decided to make him the player of the game.
That's right. Greg Bent was a major lift in this game, and for that reason, especially in the first half and for minutes in the second half, we had that 3-basket spurt in the second half where Providence broke away a little bit. You know, we give this award to Greg for this game. A pleasant surprise for him off the bench. Came in just averaging 3.5 points a game, but displayed the soft touch. That was a goaltend on Colson. He looked for the offense, and he really provided that spark that Rick Barnes was looking for.
So obviously the junior college transfer from San Jacinto. He's a very mature young man. He's married. And he's starting to get his feet wet here in the Big East. And the touch foul by Evans.
You can see that he's experienced, too. I think that'll be it for Evans.
According to my numbers, he will leave with 19 points. And credit him with a very strong second half. He scored 15 points in the second half of this game.
He put him up in a hurry. And he was part of that big ball club last year for Tom Penders and now playing well for Al Skinner. Have to give credit to URI in this game. They held their own on the boards. They slowed the tempo down. Minimized turnovers to a great extent and didn't allow Providence to pull away. But Providence, sort of a good look at the way they're going to play this year with a lot of pressure, a lot of bodies. It's an exciting team to watch.
Steve Lane, who got in foul trouble early, comes back in the ballgame. He has played very little, has 5 points, and he's averaging almost 11. So he's been missing in action most of tonight. Murdoch looking for another 20-point night if he can hit them both.
Lane had one of those nights where you get in foul trouble and just never get your game going, and that's where he's been as you get a look at the URI bench versus the Providence bench, standing in anticipation of another win.
An even 20 for Eric Murdoch.
Solid outing for Murdoch. He played very well once again.
Here's Lane. That's only a two-pointer. It's too hard. He comes right back to him. He tries to go inside. Conlon knocks it away. At the buzzer, the basket does not go, and that is it. Providence off to a great start in this 1988-89 season. The Friars celebrate a little revenge as Al Skinner and Rick Barnes exchange greetings at midcourt. The final score here tonight, 76-70. Providence defeats Rhode Island. Along with Ron Perry, I'm John Sanders. Once again, repeating Rick Barnes' team a winner for the 7th time in the young season, 76-70 over the Rams of Rhode Island. The preceding has been a Big East Conference Television Network production.